I'm in the field, 2-minute drill, highlight reel. Let's review, what's the deal, okay? Watching footage going out of control. Buckle up, we got an hour to go, so let's go, that's straight heat. Ain't no chillin' around here, back to back, Nat chins, how we feelin' around here? Got my whole squad in the building around here. If my name ain't on it, then I really don't care. Come on. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rant. Nothing but rant. Nothing but rant. Nothing but rant. On the beat, hey. Yeah.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up? That was a soft click over there. For those of you who don't know, well, I play off sound cues in here because we don't have personal, professional in-ears in here. Yeah, it was a very soft click today. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We have a loaded show for you guys tonight on a Monday night here in the studio. Last studio show of the week because the boys and I are on a road trip starting tomorrow. We will have further details on that tonight. It's an absolutely marvelous Monday night here on the network, and we are loaded as usual. We got some quarterback talk tonight, boys. How about that?
Oh, yes.
I'm not so excited about the quarterback talk as I normally am this time of the year, because normally at this time of the year, I'm like, dang, it's like 15 mega dudes out there. I mean, look at all these seed spinners we got across the country in the 2020 class. 2027, I don't know how I feel about it. We're going to talk about it tonight, though. What else we got? Tennessee's fortunate loss. That's what we're going to call that tonight. Tennessee had a fortunate loss in the court cases. Don't know how Tennessee fans feel about that, but we're going to talk to those guys tonight. And we have some Lane Kiffin news.
Of course we do.
Good.
What's some Lane Kiffin news tonight? Like and subscribe. Subscribe, the important part there. Those of you watching us live, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Used to call it a like. Now it's just a thumbs up button. And it does cool things when you hit it. It makes like little emotes fly. Make sure you're hitting that and make sure you're subscribing if you are not. We're on that road to 100K. We know it's a slog during the off season. Mm-hmm. We've so much so we've come up with a slogan. We're in the search for the sickos. All right. So if you're an absolute sicko fan that all you can think about, all you can consume is college football, we got you right here. All right. So make sure you're subscribing and make sure you're telling your friends about us. But boys, let's start with the news. We are on a road trip tomorrow.
That's right.
We are headed up north. Up I-75? Is that 75, right?
I believe so.
That's I-75 straight through or around Nashville and then up through one of them other states and then up and eventually into the Indianapolis, home of the Colts and home of the NFL Combine. Our third year going to the Combine. Your second? Mm-hmm. Your second. Christian Kirby and I's third year. We're real vets. He's a savvy young veteran, though. Y'all excited?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Looking forward to it.
You know, always good to take a breather from football, and then the Combine allows you just to get right back into it. I feel like you're back in season.
Oh, you took a breather with all them film studies I made you come in here and do?
I mean, from the standpoint of, weekends are a little more free than they are in the season.
No one watches more ball in February than Jonathan Williams. Nobody. Yeah. Nobody out here whipping the pen is out here watching as much ball in the middle of February as Jonathan in college football.
There's not a film study that I miss.
That's right. You locked in.
Every single one, I'm locked in for them.
Locked in. And you would be locked in if our chat wouldn't have completely forbidden off-season ditties. So
that's true.
They got you out of film study, buddy.
They'll be back, though. Don't worry, guys.
They'll be back come this fall. You won't have any choice. But, yeah, man, we're excited to do that. What are you guys most excited for about the NFL Combine? Sneaky. I got a top 5 for you.
I feel like the interviews you get to do at the Combine are probably the most unique that we get to do because it's a little more freelancing, if you will, as far as like the questions that you get. And then also there's points in times too, like depending on who's slotted at the same time as the players that we get to interview. Sometimes they're pretty personal because it might just be you and a couple other people sitting there interviewing a former Georgia player because Travis Hunter might be in one of the other corners, and that's where everybody else is at. I don't think we'll have one of those this year, right? Probably not going to have one of those.
Not a Travis Hunter like that, no.
Like next year,
I don't think there's a mega star.
Next year it'll be Arch.
Oh my God, the Arch
The
machine
Arch from
next year will be
SEC
nuts.
Media Days was crazy enough, but it won't be one of those this year. But yeah, they get to be kind of personal, and it's just a cool experience to kind of talk to those guys one last time before they go off to the NFL and you don't see them again.
I know it's a national hour, but from a local standpoint, you are correct in those interview settings. It's one of the lone times you can see the interviewee or the subject matter rather look at you like a light bulb goes off because they see one familiar face in a crowd full of what is happening right now. What is happening right now? Or better yet, like you were mentioning, like some 7th round projected draft pick that none of the NFL draft Twitter gurus care to interview, and it's just you kicking it with a 4-year starter in the SEC.
Yeah,
not a bad way to go. That's for sure.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, I think it's also cool to interview these players that they've kind of let their guard down just a little bit as far as talking about their old team goes. Now, you're not going to get some off-the-wall, types of comments that some people give. You get those from a few people, but for the most part, they're not as worried about saying something that's going to get them disciplined by a head coach. They're more willing to tell fun stories about certain things, and that goes for all the players that we interview, not just Georgia ones. So that's what I'm looking forward to as well.
Absolutely. And I will say this, okay? You know the one question we're going to have to hear 1,000 different times.
Oh, yeah.
Who have you had meetings with this week? Have you met with the Jaguars? Have you met with the insert team I cover? Huh?
Formal or informal?
Formal or informal. That's right. Formal or informal. Thanks. I just shouted at you over 30 other reporters to ask that so I can go write one article about it. Also, the thing that I despise nowadays, this is going to sound really, really get off my line coming from a fat head with a YouTube account, but you TikTok accounters that go up in there and ask them what their favorite cheeseburger topping is, I do not like you. I do not like you at all. So there's that. Had to get that off my chest early.
I don't mind those questions if we're 8 minutes into the interview and it's very clear.
If it's dragging.
Yeah, if it's dragging, like people aren't asking as many questions. Like, hey, pop in there and ask them what they get at the gas station.
We stepped on a Travis Hunter interview last year to ask him favorite dipping sauces for chicken fingers. And I'm like, what? What are we doing? But anyways, there's that. I got a top 5. You want it?
Of course you
Let's
have
hear
the
it.
top
5 combine moments over the last 3 years. Jonathan, you want a 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
1 to 5.
Oh, you're getting it right this time. We're in tune tonight, Jonathan and I. Number 1. I hit Mike Tomlin with a door in a bathroom at a bar.
Won't be doing that this
That was
year,
wild.
I don't think.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, there will be no Mike
Dude,
Tomlin.
he runs that place.
He's just camping out in Athens.
That one bar we constantly go to when we're up there,
gotta-
Mike Tomlin owns that joint.
You've got better odds of doing that at a Georgia basketball game now.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I mean, straight up, just classic me, Buffalo, just walking up into, just bumping into stuff. Had one of them double way swinging doors at this fancy establishment. On some loose hinges as well. And wham, hit him right in the back. And he turned around like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't even realize who it was till I walked right up at the bathroom. I think I've told that story before. Number 2, in the same establishment, 1 year later, Jonathan Williams drops a Bud Light bottle, Michelob, right there on the floor. Psh, really crowded, yet oddly quiet bar filled with nothing but boisterous conversations. All ceased the moment he broke a bottle.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was certainly quiet once the beer bottle in my hand shattered. And by the way, I don't think that was my fault. I would like to point out that I believe someone, not going to name names,
Attaboy.
bumped my hand and proceeded to create a explosion of a beer bottle on the floor. But yes, it got very quiet.
I don't believe false accusations.
I'm just saying.
I feel attacked even though you didn't attack me.
It was empty, so I was overall cool with it for the most part, other than the fact that I had drawn attention of about 20 NFL GMs
A
or
lot.
coaches
In
for the
an
wrong reason.
area and a time where we definitely did not want any attention to us.
Yeah.
You know, we feel cool and comfortable in college football settings. People don't know who the hell we are in an NFL setting.
A very different setting.
It's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah, until that moment happens. If that moment happened in an SEC bar, everybody's like, it's all right. Sorry, not. I mean, we were standing next to 3 NFL GMs.
Yeah, they were all around.
3 NFL GMs and a certain prominent NFL reporter. But hey, hopefully we bounce back this year. Hopefully we shake back. I think this year it's all about what people we got in town, what movers and shakers we can bump elbows with. How about that? Excited for that. We're gonna do a car show tomorrow.
We can,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I'll also get this one out of the way. I'm kind of excited to have some cold weather again.
Oh, that was moments. That was moments. Or top 5 moments 1 and 2. 3 through 5 are off the record Hondo Carpenter moments.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also,
that's why I didn't mention them.
It doesn't have to just be Hondo Carpenter. Just being amongst the people of that beat and seeing what other people are like. There's some, dare I say, interesting people.
But you think
cover
college
NFL.
football beat reporters are interesting and peculiar? Let me introduce you to the NFL beat.
I want to circle back on this. Have cold weather again. Take.
Yeah,
It's 30 degrees
That's
outside.
true. I
It's
did.
been cold.
The wind chill's -19.
We had
Feels like
back-to-back
outside.
weekends
Right,
of
my bad.
ice or snow
But
recently.
the week leading up to that was warm. I was like, I'm not ready yet for it to be spring.
I was. That weather was beautiful. That was
What
awesome.
kind of madman? Hopefully we have a safe travel up there to Indianapolis. I'm sure we will.
Any reason why we?
No, I'm trying to figure out a transition into South Carolina football players not being safe
Yes.
and having some bad luck. But hey, they dodged a bullet. Have you
Yeah,
heard this? South Carolina's starting offensive tackle Jacarius Peaks, the NC State transfer that I would imagine went for north of 1.3. That's safe.
Yeah.
Right, he was the top 3 tackle in the transfer portal. Reportedly hurt his knee. Now, the internet swears this happened at a 3-on-3 organized football team event. Not like playing pickup out in the backyard, but like the team was having a get-together, and one of the we're going to bond moments was let's roll that round ball out even though we're all 300-pound football players, and let's play some 3-on-3. Allegedly reported on the internet. I'm not saying this happened. I'm just saying the internet seems to believe it's happened, which has made me think of this. It's all great news for South Carolina fans that it sounds like he's going to be available for the fall. He will not be available for the spring. I got a game for you boys.
What's your game?
We like to play every once in a while a game of so-and-so looks like. So we got Shane Beamer looks like, but this one is a very specific edition. This is pickup edition, pickup basketball edition. Shane Beamer looks like he slaps the floor on the first possession of defense.
For sure.
I can see that, yeah.
Shane Beamer looks like he asks, are we going shirts and skins? And then demands to be skins.
Okay.
Feet for free.
Okay.
I don't know about that one.
You don't think so? How about this one? Shane Beamer looks like he would call a ticky-tack foul after he just hacked the ever-loving shit out of you.
I could see
He's got
him
some competitiveness to him.
I could see him calling a petty foul when things get a little too intense.
So how about this? Petty foul? Other way. I could see Shane Beamer looking like the guy that takes a charge down 8 in a game to 10.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Got to have those guys.
That is true. That's true.
Requirement.
I'm surprised no one said Shane Beamer definitely is hooping in Chuck Taylor's.
So the way you play this is Shane Beamer looks like he would definitely hoop in Chuck Taylor's.
No, this is not looks like. This is a proclamation. I'm almost certain that Shane Beamer gets down and laces up his Chuck Taylor Converses when he's about to play some basketball.
Shane Beamer definitely looks like he hoops with his shirt tucked in at all times.
See, I could see that more than going skins. I don't know if Shane Beamer's just out here eager to take the top off.
Brother, Shane Beamer walks around his office without his shoes on, bare
That's
feet.
different.
He's
Though. There's
thonging between the toes, and you don't think that
Facts.
he would escape taking his shirt off in a basketball game?
There's a big difference between not wearing a shirt and like the whole barefoot culture of like it's how nature's intended us to be. Like there's a whole subculture of that I could see Shane Beamer playing basketball barefoot before I see him going shirtless. Shane Beamer also looks like he's just a classic cherry picker. Of just kind of like the jog on defense, and then as soon as the ball gets you, sprint down and get an easy
But
layup.
he's this specific type of cherry picker, and if you've played pickup, you know of fast break layup. Oh, I smoked it. I'm going to act like I'm really tired right now and put my hands on my knees while everybody else is playing defense. Oh, and then the turnover happens. Oh, now I'm back up and I'm going to get a layup.
Or loser limps like,
Yeah.
ooh, outlet,
Yep.
outlet.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But you would assume the 3v3 half court.
Yeah.
Hard to cherry pick in a half court.
By the way, if you have ever played pickup basketball too, and there's a football player at this pickup, you at all times you are making sure you're aware of where said football player is because they have no remorse for like physical contact or anything. Like you might get shoved 5 feet out of bounds if you're not careful. So having the idea of having an entire football team go play basketball and think that maybe something bad might not happen injury-wise, probably not a good idea.
I've seen copious videos of Dabo Swinney doing this with recruits because Dabo can hoop. For like a 55-year-old white man, he can hoop.
I could see it.
That's completely different. That's if you get hurt, we get you at a discount.
Correct. We're bargain bin shopping at this point. But yeah, no, you're right. This is totally different. Even crazier, the fact that you told me today that the internet swears this is not the first time they've had a player.
I saw South Carolina fans saying that. I think the other time it was Ultimate Frisbee. They were playing Ultimate Frisbee. And
okay, that's just bad. Some of it's just bad luck.
Right. But, anytime that like a player that plays a specific sport gets hurt doing something outside of that sport, people are going to raise hell about it.
Dodgeball. Just play dodgeball with the fellas. Like, that's the safe.
No quarterback, though. Can't be popping a UCL playing dodgeball.
Can't be doing that. Quarterback can't be doing that. That is the safest. You can still be aggressive type sport. Dodge. I don't know a single person who has suffered a serious season-ending injury playing dodgeball. And now someone in chat will name them, of course, but I can't think of any single time they do it at the Pro Bowl now.
Shane Beamer looks like he blesses himself when he sneezes.
Oh, little Quinnen Williams.
Yeah. Bless me.
And then he said thank you, too.
Thanking yourself is the really crazy part. I've seen the bless you in a quiet room by yourself. I've done that.
Yeah.
Not wild. Bless me, though. I hit it with a bless you.
No, he said God bless you, and I said thank you. One sentence. Crazy.
God bless you. Thank you. We good on this story?
I think we are. Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, good lucky bounce, lucky shake there. This is not like season ending.
Yeah, some people thought it was season ending.
Yeah, for real.
The initial reports were torn ACL.
Not a lot of good news out of that place lately.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah. Speaking of not a lot of good news, not a lot of good news coming out of the Tennessee court systems for the Volunteer fan base, as Joey Aguilar will be in Indianapolis with us this weekend at the NFL Combine because he lost his court case. Now, I think if you've heard me talk about this impending quarterback battle, because I'd had it on pretty good authority that he wasn't looking good to win this case for a couple weeks now. And if you've heard me talk about this, I've talked about where I lie on this decision of the future of the quarterback room. I think this is good for the long-term health of the Tennessee football program, but particularly the quarterback room and its long-term development, because we live very much so in a salary sport now. Whether or not there's a cap, you can determine that yourself, but there is a determined salary at Tennessee. They can only spend so much money, and they've spent a lot of money on high school quarterbacks. That has been their method of operations most of the time. And we'll talk about why they've altered from that briefly. But the intentions of this program were to be built off of high school recruiting at the quarterback position. And they've done it, in their opinion, really, really well. Right? They identified George McIntyre early in the process, got him committed, and kept him committed. Same thing with Faison Brandon a couple of classes later, maybe just right after that. No, it was a couple of classes later, wasn't it? But guys, like the NFL, in college now, we have a time length on all these contracts, but more importantly, there's a window. There's a window of opportunity for us to have excellent quarterback play tied with a good roster to go on and compete for a title. That's the whole goal, right? And we also know, because we cover college football, we watch college football, odds are for young football players that window of excellent quarterback play is going to be coming in years 2, or better yet, year 3 in the system. Tennessee is very much a byproduct of this statement. Hendon Hooker's explosion year was in year 2 in that system and playing for Josh Heupel up there with the Volunteers. So that's where they want to be. That's where they need to be. And guess what? George McIntyre is a sophomore right now. So we better get into this window and we better find out what George McIntyre is, because guess what? Next year, Faison Brandon's going to be a sophomore. All right, so essentially no different than when you draft a rookie quarterback, all right, and then 3 or 4 years into his contract, either he hasn't played or he's been injured or he hasn't played well enough to where we know he's the guy. Year 4 and year 5 is decision time. in my opinion, in college football, when you buy a really, really expensive high school prospect at the quarterback position in particular, year 2, sophomore year basically is year 4 in NFL terms, because we have to decide whether or not this guy is the guy or we better go find somebody who is, which brings me to my next point. Tennessee's quarterback room got altered by a circumstance that was unforeseen, right? Like we didn't know Nico was going to blow up like it did, and now all of a sudden they're scrounging for a 1-year rental. And it turned out to be a 1-year rental and needs to remain that, and you need to go back to the course of operations that you have dedicated yourself to for quite some time now. I think Joey Aguilar not being available is the best thing for the long-term health of this quarterback room.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get some answers about either one of those guys, because even if Joey Aguilar would have been, like, let's phrase it this way as well. Had Joey Aguilar returned for another season this year, do we think it would have drastically impacted the projections of Tennessee this season?
Jonathan, that was my next point. What we learned last year watching Aguilar in year 1 in that system is that dude's going to he's going to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be turnover prone anyways, why not do it with a young player? If we're going to take lumps, why not take learning lumps?
Right. And I think that next season is kind of, anyways, this year that Tennessee fans think they might be back into the competitive nature of the SEC, like back in the conversation of being a playoff contender. So had Joey Aguilar return this season to start, you're only going to delay the development of your quarterbacks and potentially hurt yourself next year, when I think Tennessee fans, again, think that's when they're going to be really competitive again.
Yeah, and I mean, buying these, because you're only going to get one more year of Joey Aguilar, even if he did get the extra year of eligibility. Is that 1 year worth the 2 to 3 that you're going to be forced to sacrifice moving down the road? Because let's be honest, and this is not to besmirch Joey Aguilar, it wasn't like Joey Aguilar was playing Heisman level football or first round draft pick level football. If he was, he wouldn't have had any qualms about going into the NFL draft this year. So I don't think Tennessee is losing that much. Yeah, they're losing continuity. Yeah, they're going to have their 5th starter in as many seasons. That part sucks, but I think, like you said, in the long run, this is going to work out for them better.
I feel like Joey played really good. I think there's an opportunity that one of those 2 young quarterbacks could be really great in this system.
Yeah.
And we need to, if we have to go through growing pains to get to really great, we need to start doing that now. We don't need to delay that any further. You mentioned, like, him, if Joey were to come back, we're just creating backlog. That's all we're doing. We're creating backlog. We're asking guys to take red shirts and sit in next year that we don't need to be doing. We're pushing the clock down further and further in a sport where, and we just learned this even further in this discussion, time spans are limited, right? Like, eligibilities are limited. We only have so many years to actually do this as a starter at these programs. So
agree.
I think this is good, ultimately good, because if he gets awarded the extra year, he's gonna start for 12 games.
100%.
He's gonna be the guy. And then you're basically hoping for us to destroy teams to even get a look in a developmental setting at George McIntyre. That's not the ideal situation right about now for these guys. Speaking of quarterbacks, boys, I do have some concerns, okay? Now, this is really, really early, okay? Really, really early, and I've felt so cautious about delivering this take that I even had to call around to other scouting departments this afternoon and make sure I'm not crazy. But I spent about 4 hours today watching the top 11 consensus quarterbacks in the 2027 recruiting class. And I don't know if we got a lot of, like, dudes, like really, really high-end guys. Now, the 2 that I asked you to pull up tapes on, do we have those tapes ready?
I'll get it pulled up.
All right, please do. I'm going to tell you that now because I'm going to go through the rest of these guys. Now, there are 11 names. Whether you're a 24/7 sports guy or an On3 guy, there's really a consensus, like, group of 11 right now that are really, really high up early on in the process in 2027. Here are those football players: Elijah Haven, Israel Abrams, Kavion Bryant, Trey Taylor, Colton Nussmeier, Gunnar Rivers, Jace Johnson, Peter Bourquet, I guess is how I would pronounce that, Peyton Houston, Malachi Ziegler, and Will Minsell, who is a fast riser. Will Minsell just went from completely unranked on On3 to the number 4 player in the nation. I watched it today, and look, no offense, I'm not saying anything cross about those recruiting rankings. It is what it is. he is Miller Moss reincarnated. That's what that is. I watched that today, and look, Miller Moss, really, really good football player. Really good football player. Is he the number 4 football player in the country? I don't think so. I watched the Malachi Ziegler tape today. It was okay. All these guys, I'm going to throw some skepticism apart from 2 of them. And all of them, apart from Colton Nussmeier, in my opinion, are playing like real bad comp. Like not at all. Like most of these guys are the biggest, fastest, strongest kid on the field, apart from their wide receiver who obviously transferred in to play with a good quarterback. That's what we got going on. So I don't know what I'm arriving at, whether or not we have like some developmental issue. I don't think it's that big of a deal because the rest of the 2027 class is borderline historic deep at positions like edge and positions like wide receiver. But let's talk about it. Elijah Haven is consensus the number 1 ranked quarterback in America. He has no available tape. There is no available huddle tape. There's no highlights that you can go watch. So what I had to do today was go watch a YouTube cut up that somebody went and watched this game and filmed it of him. Very, very traitsy, 6'5", 230 pounds, can throw it a country mile. If there's anybody in this class that's like height, weight, speed, like velocity, big enough, fast enough, strong enough to be a quote-unquote 5-star, I'm okay with it, Elijah Haven. If he ends up going to Alabama, which is what it's projected to be, he will be the least polished pocket passer that I've ever seen Kalen DeBoer sign. Like the rest of them are top to bottom, like do all their work from the pocket and do it like fundamentally clean. This is a traitsy take if they ultimately do that at Alabama. Israel Abrams is a rail thin football player, 6'5", 195 pounds. Looked like he broke himself in half throwing a post. I mean, rail thin. Great layer. All these guys are great with the touch and accuracy. They spin it really, really well. But there's not a lot of, apart from the Elijah Haven, there's not a lot of juice in this class. Kavion Bryant, 6'2", 180. The kid goes to sleep watching Cam Ward. Goes to sleep watching Cam Ward. Looks like that, basically, from what you see from a pocket standpoint. He ain't in it. Ain't in the pocket long. He's freelancing out there. Trey Taylor, the Nebraska commit. He's all right. Mm-hmm. He's like a top 25 player in the country right now. Colton Nussmeier is a left-handed Garrett with an extra inch. I mean, it's fun. It's great ball tape. Mm-hmm. Like every ball is like, whoa. Honest to God, surprised Alabama ain't in on that one. That's what it looks like. It's like Alabama quarterback tape. I'm saving Gunner Rivers because he's a dude. Jace Johnson, I mean, you've seen him.
Twice.
You've seen him.
Yeah.
I love the athlete. I don't love the mechanics of the thrower.
Yeah.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of why people bought into Kamario Taylor. Honestly. The Mississippi State kid. Peter Bourquet is a 2008 5-star, is what I wrote down on him. 6'5", an absolute mammoth in the pocket. You know where he goes to school?
Where?
He goes to school where Ryan Puglisi is from.
Oh, okay.
The Mass school up there.
Yeah.
And he playing Timmy and Tyler, and he running around like he ain't 6'5", 230 and lead-footed. And then I already talked about the Will Mansell kid. Now, of all of the players, now this very well could change because it is so early in the process. Of all the players that I have watched, all right, all 11 of those guys are probably slotted to be $1 million quarterbacks. They're all inside the top 100. They're all going to Power 4 schools. They're all probably going to make north of 7 figures. There's only 2 of them that I'd actually give that money to, and it's Peyton Houston, the LSU commit, and it's Gunner Rivers, the NC State now commit. So this is topical because he just committed. Who are we watching first?
Gunner Rivers. Let's
do this because we have watched the Peyton Houston tape, and the Peyton Houston tape is electric. This right here, this looks like his daddy. I mean, he looks just like Phillip, and he's playing big time quarterback. I ain't just playing ball. He's playing quarterback. Let's go watch this. All righty. I'm going to take the chain off so we don't get any popping on the microphone. Go ahead and play it for me, Jonathan.
All right.
All right, now, what amazes me about this, okay, and what you should know, I know I said play it and then I paused it immediately. What you should know about this is they run the same exact system that the Indianapolis Colts do. They run an NFL system. That is why Phillip Rivers got brought up so quickly, because him and Shane Steichen, I believe that's the head coach at Indianapolis,
Yes.
him and Shane Steichen were on the phone every single week talking about the offense, because Phillip was coaching the offense here. So Phillip's his coach. They run an NFL system. All right, that's what you need to know. Now watch how many NFL throws this dude makes, and watch how many of them look, again, just like his daddy. He throws with the same exact mechanics that Papa does. I mean, we got big rips on this one. We got a couple of them where we're taking absolute kill shots off the chest, and we're just letting it fling. I love this right here. This looks like a standard high school like quarterback throw, but I know what we're working. We're working a sail from number 2 over here, which if the pocket were clean, first of all, right hash, far left side sail. That's a big-time arm throw. But if the pocket were clean, we'd stand in there and rip it. But if we get pressure, where's our escape strategy? It better be to the left,
Field
right?
side.
We talk about that on this network all the time. He immediately knows to get to his left, buys time for that sail. All right, big-time rip right there from the kid, and we'll see more and more of it down here. It's a great touch throw from him as well. Some of these back angle shots is what it really, really looks like his dad to me. I mean, even his drip, we got none of it on. None of it. Watch him run right here. Tell me that don't look like his daddy.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that is.
All right, so
that
there's a
looks
couple of these guys are in this class. Now, he's 6'4.5", I think. I think he's big, thick, NFL pedigree. A couple of these guys are like gonna be college pocket passers, like is what's all on this tape, but they ain't that big, and they don't have this many big-time throws within the pocket. If I were just buying a thrower, this is the one I'm gonna buy. Look at this throw coming up right here, dude. Not this one, the next one with pressure in the face. That's we got man coverage, go throw the go ball. This one right here with a blitzing Mike, that's goofy. And did you see the other he looks like his dad moment on this play we just got done watching? Watch him turn around and talk to somebody. I don't know who he's talking to, but I've seen Phillip do that a million times on the way to a touchdown. That throw right there is goofy.
That's such a good throw. Oh, man. The anticipation of it's what's
You know what I
most
mean?
impressive.
It's rare when I watch high school tape. We know we got to hold that to hit the square in. It's rare when I watch high school tape where I can tell that the football player is playing the position, not just running around making plays. Now, this next guy we're going to watch, he's probably doing a lot of that because he is a twitchy monster. This kid right here is playing the position from the pocket.
That is a terrifying midfield logo.
Yeah, that thing is kind of spooky.
I think there's a difference in a lot of prospects that are really good at throwing to guys that are open versus quarterbacks that can throw guys open.
Great way of putting it, Kirby.
Which is what he's doing here.
Honestly, that's not just prospect. That's all across the board, right? Like it gets harder and harder and requires you to be more of an anticipatory thrower and tight window thrower the further and further we go up the sport. So that's a great point right there, man. Double move. Now, that's a big defense. I don't know. This is middle or South Alabama football, I think. Those look like big boys
they're
over there. We got pressure, move up in the pocket, take the hit. I mean, it looks just like his dad.
And not one running play in the tape.
No, you won't see it. That's what I'm saying. If I'm buying all right, we know we're going to get like maybe a run a day because he scrambled for 2 yards type of prospect, this is the one I'm taking.
But it's also not that he's not a statue. Like, he's very good at working his way in the pocket. He's very good at creating time. He's not a threat with his legs, but...
Will you look at his 24/7 page and see if they actually dared to comp him to his dad? Because if they didn't, come on, man. What are we doing? I love the footwork right there. Watch this next rep. Such a clean drop when most of these guys we'll see just catch the ball and kind of float backwards till they hit their back foot.
Reminds
1, 2,
us
3.
of Phillip Rivers.
Good. I bet, is that Andrew Ivins?
Yeah.
Hey, man. Andrew Ivins is a daggone ball knower. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't know what the chat thinks about Andrew Ivins, but I got a tremendous amount of respect. All right, now let's watch this cat. Now, this going to be like, I don't know, drinking So I don't even know a metaphor here. The difference in these two football players. Give me a metaphor here. This will be like, screw it. Let's just watch it. You'll see how different they are. Doop.
I do remember watching this tape last year.
Oh, dude, we watched the junior tape or the sophomore tape last year. This is the junior tape. Oh, yeah, man. Here we go. Here's the freedom of movement that I was talking about. What in the world?
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh? We found juice like that? You know who's explained those moving to our left throws better than anybody? Whoever's training Mahomes, I saw a video of them literally just doing like spinal rotations under load. And I'm like, what are they doing? And then the trainer starts talking about how, throwing the football is all spinal rotation. If you can get your spine to rotate with my lower body this way, I've stretched the band, if you will. His ability to do that is really, really, really elite. It's another example. He tried to get another example of it right there. But nope, we're taking off. Yank.
Oh, man.
Now, he didn't commit to LSU when Lane Kiffin was the head coach, correct?
I don't think so.
But what I was going to say is this looks like a Lane Kiffin
Oh,
quarterback.
dude. Lane going there only solidified this one, I would imagine.
I mean, this is everything that Lane would want in a quarterback.
Honestly, from a throwing mechanics standpoint, that's a reload. Find my guy that's running clean. But like that throw right there, that looked like Trinidad Chambliss. He's built like Trinidad too. Built like a running back, playing quarterback. He's even got if I remember correctly, he's even got like a running back face mask. He's got the sidebar face mask. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. Look at that drop. How far back into the pocket are we?
Looking at.
It's like a 10.
My God. Was that a play action rollout or did he? What in the world? Is this halftime?
No, you know what?
punt?
This one that looks like a fake punt. That looks like they have an
Oh, okay.
Had to have been.
Okay.
Had to have been a fake punt.
They're doing it again. What's up with these deep pockets, man? That's a seed, brother.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, man. This kid already qualified for Elite 11 finals, I think.
Makes sense.
He's my pick to win.
I mean, honestly, dude, we got to give Brian Kelly some flowers for this.
Yeah. Joe Sloan some flowers.
I'm not seeing anything about him in the Elite 11, but that doesn't mean it's not true.
His running abilities are Lamar-esque.
You know what I was thinking? Because of the stature? I was thinking he looks like Derek King when he takes off.
That's all. That's probably a better comp, honestly.
But he is obviously, oh my God, a much better thrower than Derek. So if anybody's wondered, that's my QB1, and then Gunner's my QB2, and I don't really have a QB3 or 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you want to push back on me, give me a suggestion of a quarterback you think that is deemed worthy in that. I saw some clips of the kid that's committed to Ohio State out of his Elite 11 regional. That ball hums. I forget his name. But yeah, man, I reached out to a couple of scouting departments. They felt the same way. It's like, it is, but, it's okay. We're going to be all right. We got dudes at every other position in this class, it sounds like.
Do you think it could just be that it's, like, would you classify it as, like, it's a high floor class?
Yeah, I mean, like, again, there's a bunch of kids in there where I'm like, 2 years from now, you might be something.
Okay.
I just don't – there's not a Jared Curtis in that class. There's not a Keyshawn Henderson in this class. There's not a Hassan Longstreet in this class.
Yeah, this pass recruiting class.
There's not a Bryce Underwood in this class.
Or from a quarterback standpoint, there are a lot of big names in this pass recruiting class.
Normally there is, I think the Rivers kid is going to be an absolute stud. They're going to go from C.J. Bailey, who's going to be a top 5 quarterback selected, to Gunner Rivers. Not a bad little transition for those guys out there.
Speaking of transition, why don't we go and give a shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. If you don't know by now, it is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app that is focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. They have become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 6 million active users and are earning some of the highest levels of engagement in the industry. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. And they've recently added a new feature for team picks, which you can actually pick which team will win certain games instead of just player props. So go ahead and check that out. If you use promo code Brooks today, you will get a $100 match up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. They are also operational in over 25 states, including the great state of Georgia. Once again, that is promo code Brooks.
Now, that quarterback discussion is going to be interesting like 7 years from now. Maybe we'll come back and look at it. Maybe it has 7 first-rounders in it.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean,
you never know. Some of the ones that feel like there's a couple classes where they damn near rank 5 stars at the position. Then other years where it's like 3.
The 5 and 6 5-star classes don't usually pan out, I feel.
No.
It's always this kid was a 3-star, and now look at him. He's a first-round draft pick.
What is really, really hard nowadays, and I don't know if it was like this because I've only been doing this for 7 years, 8 years now. Everywhere I go, there's a dude that absolutely spins the shit out of football. Everywhere I go. And back in the day, it was like, oh, my God, I found this one that can throw it 70 yards. It's like, dude, everybody's spinning it now. Everybody is throwing really, really well. But that's not playing the position.
No.
We talk about that all the time. So it's still a crapshoot game, and I think it's almost gotten made harder because everybody's pretty, and everybody's polished, and everybody's clean. So when they come to you, it's all about what's between the ears. Well, all I've been looking at is him in shorts and T-shirts and on tape.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in his ears. Hopefully it's not wax buildup. Who is next year's Clemson? Who is next year's Penn State? Who is next year's LSU? Those are 3 programs, in my opinion, last year, boys, that went into the season on paper looking like they had the abilities to compete to be one of the 12 best teams in college football, and thus were deemed playoff worthy or thus carried playoff expectations, okay? I guarantee you all 3 of those programs in-house spoke about winning national titles last year, and they were some poop. So who's it going to be this year? Who is going to be the football team that preseason everybody's like, hey, man, that team right there, and then they end up being some poop? Or at least underperforming.
Yeah,
the 2 candidates that I came up with are pretty spicy, if I had to say so myself. Like they're in the hot take category, if you will, which is a super overused term nowadays. But I would say that both of them, if you want to push back on them, I would completely agree with you but as far as like the circumstances and maybe like a reason as to why maybe there would be a drop off, I feel like both of these teams fell under that category. The first one being Ohio State.
No!
Like, let me just put it this way. Didn't love Julian Sayin all that much this year. Like, super efficient passer. Stayed ahead of the chains offensively. Yeah, I know. Are you going to go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Kirby Smart made a joke with Mario Cristobal about NIL and Ellis Robinson. So
Well, no. And then Mario Cristobal just clapped back with
yeah, it's just a joking matter. 2 head coaches joking.
Got it.
I saw that a minute ago. But anyways, yeah, Ohio State, Julian Sayin, he's an efficient quarterback but doesn't have a whole lot of wow factor. Now, Jeremiah Smith, that's going to help a lot with that offense this year. But losing a guy like Carnell Tate, I think that could kind of provide some blowback on this offense a little bit, but defensively too. I mean, you're losing 3-4 really, really good football players, like 2 of them being Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles. Like, we're talking about 2 first-round draft picks defensively this year. And on top of that, I would even go as far as to say as Ohio State was good defensively, but it really kind of hinged on those 2 guys and a few others that are now in the NFL draft. So I just feel like there's an opportunity for this offense and the defense both to kind of maybe take a little bit of a step back. Now, I assume that Julian Sayin will get better this year, but I don't know if it's going to be as drastic as this guy's one of the best quarterbacks now in all of college football.
Well, we certainly know his workload is going to increase this year. They're not going to go around keeping teams to under 8 points a game. I don't think. If they do, Matt Patricia's a head coach in college football somewhere pretty soon. I mean, my God, they lost. And I know it's Ohio State. It's like saying, they're one of the halves. So when they lose 7 what feels like first-round draft picks on defense, they normally spit them back out. But, it felt like offensively they lost some firepower after their national title. Mm-hmm. And after this year, it feels like all the firepower defensively is now gone.
Right. So I just think that there's some significant losses on both sides of the ball where I could see where – and now, this is not me predicting that Ohio State is going to go 9-3.
Well, I was about to say, Jonathan, 9-3 is catastrophic for that program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It will feel like that. But it's a tough schedule.
Yeah. But what I'm
tough.
saying is like it could just be a simple 10-2, but as far as like the overall success of the season, I could see it being somewhat of a letdown.
I want to go with the team that I think kind of surprised some people last year with how competitive it was in the college football playoff. Not college football playoff, but the regular season. I think Texas A&M could be gearing up for what might be a big disappointment. Now, I'll first come out and say, I don't know if we have a Clemson, a Penn State, or a LSU in this season where start of the season you're in the top 10 and by the end of the year you're fighting for bowl eligibility. I don't know if it's going to get that bad for teams, but Colin Klein was a big piece to this offense. Mm-hmm. The Aggies needed an X receiver, and they went and got that from Isaiah Horton, so that's good. But there's still a lot of questions coming around about Marcel Reed and about what this offense can be. I think that they could be setting themselves up for big disappointments. And by the way, they were 11-1 at the end of the regular season. They very well could have been 9-3.
Yeah. I think the one good news, good portion of this for A&M is that, in my opinion, they have year in, year out, despite coaching turnover, have been a top 10 talent roster. They got good football players every year, I feel like. Now, what's very different in 2026, it's very new for them, is they're having to replace a school record NFL draft combine invitees. So they're going to lose a lot more than they're accustomed to from, high quality players going out. Everyone's used to players leaving nowadays. Mm-hmm. It's when you lose great ones, that's when it matters. And it feels like they certainly have, especially defensively, man. Again, harping back on that side of the ball, Torian York was the guy. Mm-hmm. Torian York, I'm pretty sure by the second year in that program was a true sophomore and was brought to SEC Media Days as their captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big-time dude there that they lost. And it's not just him. It's Cassius Howell and several others. So we'll see. My candidates, I had to put Texas on here because I think anything short of winning a national title will feel like a shortcoming to most in that fan base. Mm-hmm. And that's who we're talking about, right?
You got to finish top 4.
Yeah, you got to – honest to God, I think you have to play for a national title. And if you lose, you have to lose by within a score.
That's fair.
I think the pressure is that high for people at Texas this year.
It feels that way. I mean,
it should be.
No,
it should be. That's my opinion about what they did this offseason.
They've reached 2020, 2021 Georgia status where it's like, all right, we've gotten to the next tier. You need to get us to the top now or we're going to start getting antsy.
But see, I somewhat see what you're saying, but I would even say to the point of I don't know if people were really expecting that much of Georgia heading into that season. Now, but I more so say by the time that Stetson Bennett transitioned into the starting quarterback role, I think people were really high on JT Daniels, but I think some of it kind of got brushed off a little bit when it was Stetson Bennett's the starting quarterback. I don't know how far that goes, but as far as expectation goes of you got to win a national title now, it certainly has reached that point.
I just think anything short of that is going to feel like, uh-oh. Now, the bottom's not going to fall out there, but like it did at the examples, right? It fell out at Clemson. It fell out of the bottom at Penn State. It felt like that at LSU.
Yeah. My second team on this list is Miami.
I think it's going to be good again.
Offense is going to be good. I think the offense is going to be great.
Yeah, they're
defensively, I don't know.
They got Torrey back. The 17th year senior.
Yeah, they got Torrey, they got Lightfoot, but you're losing
Damon Wilson. They got Justin Scott.
But
they got that number 18 who's really, really good. I think they're going to be good. They had a bunch of young corners last year.
That's fine, but we're talking about Ruben Bain, who was arguably maybe the best player in college football this past season. Messidor was really good for them this past year as well. Jacoby Thomas was really great in the secondary for them. They're losing multiple starters that were elite on the offensive line. Now, again, I say that with Darian Mensah, really, really good. I think that the wide receivers are going to be fine, especially with Malachi Toney and the Duke transfer that they got. But defensively, that's what carried them in the playoffs this past year. And it was Ruben Bain being one of the best players on the field, or the best player on the field almost at all times. And maybe they don't have to play that way this year because the offense will be better than it was, or I should say more explosive than it was this past year. But I could see there being a step back enough defensively to where it might create some concerns for them.
And it's not just Mesidor and Bain. They lost both tackles that are NFL football players, and they're starting center. So there's a lot there to be concerned about. I look at them as the most talented team in that conference by a relatively wide margin.
And we said that about Clemson last year.
And well, here's my worry for Miami. They still have found ways to trip on their own feet and stumble. And yes, and I think that what they did in that run they went on the college football playoff kind of makes us forget that they were a very up and down team throughout the regular season. And they have been the last 2 years, despite being one of the most talented in the conferences. Who's to say that they're not going to fall and go 9-3 this year? They very well could go 11-1. Hell, they could go 12-0 with that schedule. But I do get what you're saying in that they could fall off. Another team that I kind of think might take a step back. I don't know if it's going to be catastrophic, like I said, but Indiana lost a lot of people. Now, they got Josh Hoover. They've replaced a lot. I mean, we trust Kurt Signet's process in the transfer portal. But
they've lost the entire James Madison core.
Yes.
All of those guys that were the Aiden Fishers of the world, the edge rushers gone, the two, they've lost the whole Signetti core, that's for sure.
And here's what I want to say about that. We've seen when your, quote-unquote core from transfer portal players leaves, it doesn't always go very pretty. Now, again, you have to trust Kurt Signet's process within the transfer portal because they've had more hits than not. However, we have seen the Florida States of the world where 1 year it's national championship caliber team and the next year it's off a cliff. Again, I don't think that's what it's going to be with Indiana, but I wouldn't be shocked if they pop a 9-3 this year.
And I mean, that's just kind of like the natural flow, too, of winning national titles. Now, it seems in this newer era of college football, like Michigan took a step back after winning their national title. Ohio State took a step back after winning their national title. Now it's Indiana's turn, and we're going to see, I think everybody kind of expects that they're not going to be what they were last year. But it could be somewhat of a step back to the point of, maybe they barely missed the playoffs, or maybe they're a 9 seed in the playoffs to the tune of that.
I don't know about you boys. I've learned my lesson over the last 2 years. I will not be doubting Kurt
I'm not
Signetti.
doubting them. I mean, I think they're going to be a contender in the Big Ten.
I mean, I think it's a safe assumption they're not going to repeat. I think so. From that standpoint alone, they're going to take a step back.
Right.
So I highly doubt they go undefeated.
But also to that, I don't think there's anything that could disappoint Indiana fans this year.
No.
I don't think that they're unless you don't win a single game, unless you are that putrid this year, I don't think there is anything that would create disappointment amongst Indiana fans.
Did you see the homie Dan Orlovsky be like, I don't really understand this Fernando Mendoza stuff. Did you see that today?
No, I didn't.
He was like, I'm 5 games into this Fernando tape. Interesting. Don't really know what's going on here.
Yeah, I will say
from an NFL standpoint, an NFL guy standpoint, going from watching NFL year round to then watching an offense that a quarter of the time is running RPOs. Yeah. You probably don't know what you're watching.
And he's not your traditional first overall pick in the NFL draft, first quarterback off the board. This guy isn't just dripping with tools, the traits pop off the tape, anything like that. There's nothing that just completely wows you other than the fact of that guy plays on time and he can throw a ball in a precise location consistently.
South Carolina feels like a football program that is one Lenoris ankle roll. Dude, it's an ankle roll this year.
It's been 2 seasons in a row that he's missed games.
No. But this year it's going to be I got an NFL. We are going to the NFL next year, no doubt. So if there is any, hey, if you play through this and it goes worse, you're going to have surgery. Appreciate you, Gamecocks. That's what it should be. You know what I mean? So we're one of those away from what?
And for guys like him and you see it at the NFL level consistently, and you see it at the collegiate level as well. But I fear that you're really going to see it with Lenoris, because this is going to be year 3 now of him starting for this offense. And hopefully they have fixed this issue, but it's not off to a great start they have not protected him. This guy has been taking shots his entire career. Now, thankfully, he's built the way that he is. I mean, he can take a lot of hits, but it wears and tears on you.
We know Kenneth Brow's going to be running him. Mm-hmm. That they're going to be doing some dusted off quarterback run.
I was going to say, I didn't include this team in my list because
you don't expect much from them.
No, they're not.
And
they're not in
that.
My top 10 category.
I mean, dude, they're 7-5, 8-4 range if it goes. Decently.
It could very quickly go off the rails, though. I mean, this could be a you're fired by October year for Shane Beamer. Mm-hmm. It could get that ugly. I get what you're saying there, but the expectations are nowhere near what
not
Penn
nationally.
State, LSU, or Clemson had last year.
You guys good?
Mm-hmm.
I got one more.
Who you got?
Look, I'm devil's advocate here. Don't shoot the messenger. But this is going to be a year where we go into a Georgia football season talking about projection of people who got better.
Yeah.
So-and-so had to get better. Hope they did. Let's go see it.
Mm-hmm.
So-and-so had to get better. Let's hope. What if guys like C.J. Wiley aren't as good as Colby Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
What if Talon Taylor doesn't step into the role? Did I do it again?
You morphed the two.
Colby Young, morphing them. What if he's not good enough to replace those two players?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What if Zachariah Branch's production doesn't get replaced?
Yeah.
What if Gunner doesn't take a step forward?
No, I mean, it's certainly all real issues that Georgia could have. I don't think that there's any world where we're looking up and saying that that team is in the Clemson or the Penn States of the world. I think, again, like we've talked about the entire time, 9-3 is the floor.
Absolutely.
And is the
it would be catastrophic.
It would be you'd be having fire alarms everywhere.
Yeah.
But 9-3, I mean, Texas was 9-3 last year, and there were people saying that they should be a playoff team. So I don't think that Georgia's ever under Kirby Smart, knock on wood, going to be in a position where it's like, oh, they were top 10 preseason and then just went 7-5. Yikes! Like that's never going to happen.
So to put it in simple terms, would you say that how you would project Georgia this year purely hinges on what the wide receiver room does?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think offensively they're solid everywhere else, Jonathan.
Oh, that's what I was going to say is
left guard's a question mark, but everything else is a known.
Yeah,
they're going to be really, really good everywhere else.
You have a known answer at your quarterback. You have known answers at your running back position. You know what you have at tight end for the most part.
We have a 600-yard known answer at the wide receiver position, and his name is London Humphreys.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's a bunch of –
yeah, I mean,
we think he's really good. We don't know.
Yeah, wasn't it last year though?
Kind of.
I felt like coming over. I think we talked about Zachariah. Guys, going into the season, we talked about Zachariah Branch breaking records.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You knew.
But that was projection.
You knew what Dylan Bell was.
It was projection off a known college tape.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 games into that kid's freshman year, he was about to win the Heisman.
But again, we were also going off a projection of, okay, yeah, Zachariah Branch had really great college tape. So did Dominic Lovett. So did, God forbid, Ra Thomas. So did a lot of these other guys that have not panned out in the past of the transfer. There was a lot of projection being done last year's roster. Now, it worked out, so it all ended up being correct. But I think we had more doubts about last year's roster than we're giving credit for now.
All right, I got some Lane Kiffin drama. You want to hear it?
Oh, boy.
Well, first I want to ask you this question. Do you want your college football head coach and leader of your organization tweeting 1,170 times a year?
How many games is he winning?
A year.
You said 171?
No. 1,170 times in a year. That is over 3.5 tweets a day.
Okay.
About 3 tweets a day.
Okay. What'd you say, Kirby?
How many games is he winning?
All right, so
in
this particular case, in this particular calendar year, you get 1,170 tweets from your head football coach, 11 wins, and a departure before the college football playoff run.
No, I would not want that. But devil's advocate, when that run was going on and everything was hunky-dory, Ole Miss loved that shit. They were eating that up. They were
that's what
I was going to
this
say.
is the quote I wanted to read to you.
So much so, before you do that, they pre-ordered plushies of Juice Kiffin to give out at the baseball game this
generic golden retriever
We all know that was
generic
juice.
golden retriever.
We all know that was juice, and you can't send.
We know that was you, Juice.
generic golden retriever, Kirby.
All right, so here's the deal. Here's the quote from the article today. They tracked it with the sabermetrics on Twitter, apparently.
Okay.
Kiffin's X account became especially active during the 2025 college football season, starting with a surge in September, but the peak came in late November and early December as he weighed his future. Rumors swirled about whether he would leave Ole Miss or LSU while the Rebels' season was still going on. You'll sign up for that?
Yeah, I don't know that. Ew.
Now, as a beat reporter and a content creator,
You love it.
bring that this way, my
bring it
man.
on.
Bring that this way. We appreciate it. I don't know if I want that as somebody who's maybe contributing to these organizations nowadays.
Yeah, look.
Because you are. You're like you have stock points, and your stock points and your return on investment is winning, and winning chips, and telling your buddies, I help fund that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very simple in the terms of if you're winning, nobody cares what you're doing on Twitter. And I think you see it with some athletes too, because like when things are going great for an athlete, it's like, oh yeah, look at this guy cracking jokes on social media. But then if they have a horrible game on Sunday, it's like, hop off social media, buddy, and go run some routes.
The epitome of this is Shane Beamer. If South Carolina is doing what they winning 9 to 10 games and they're doing the full house stuff and all the jokes and all the things, everyone loves that. Shane Beamer is one of the most likable coaches in college football at that point because he's fun, he relates to the players. When they're doing what they did last year and going 4-8, it's like, bro, get on the practice field, stop this.
When Shane Beamer starts firing up the just got off the phone with a future Gamecock and the hen tweet, he's in trouble. The reason I really wanted to bring up this Lane Kiffin thing is, did y'all see what happened to him yesterday on Twitter?
No.
So
My Twitter feed the last 24 hours has been strictly Canada jokes, and I'm fine with that.
Suck it, Canada.
I didn't even notice you wrote that.
So he's been going back and forth recently with Ole Miss's women's basketball coach for some peculiar reason. Yesterday he tweeted a photo of love watching women's sports win. Obviously another jab at the women's sports teams at Ole Miss. And sent a photo of him at the LSU women's basketball game in which they're up 85-37. The top reply in said tweet, gentlemen, is an LSU fan who happened to sit behind Lane Kiffin last night at this basketball game. And it says, love Lane and love LSU, but he was there from the media timeout in the third to the media timeout in the fourth. He came to take this picture and prove to a coach that isn't at this school and then left.
See, now these are the parts of Lane Kiffin's social media antics where I'm like, buddy, we got to draw the line somewhere.
This is why I ask, because it's one thing to tweet over 1,000 times, over 1,100 times. It's another thing to do stuff like this where he consciously, I would assume, left his office, left whatever it was that he was doing, and spent 10 minutes to go take a photo at a women's basketball game and then get up and leave.
Yeah, like we're going out of our way to troll a coach that isn't again, it's a women's basketball coach at Ole Miss. Like, some things you just got to let it slide. And this isn't one of them, in my opinion. Like, dude, grow up. That's what I want to say. Grow up. Also,
I'd leave her be. She says she's got the files.
Oh.
Coach Yo over there at Ole Miss, I love that tea. I would.
It's also I think Lane Kiffin's getting too much into the bit now.
Yeah.
I think
we've lost the plot.
He got so heavy-handed with it during the entire process of him going to LSU, or is he going to stay at Ole Miss? And then shortly after he gets hired at LSU, he's continuing this bit. And it's gotten to the point now where he might be having genuine intent with some of his messaging, when he's talking about how much he loves Ole Miss. But everything now comes across as it's a backhanded compliment. That's what it comes him saying, "I love women's sports." No one takes it as genuine anymore. It's just a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, and it's also 2 or 3 years ago, Lane Kiffin would send something like this, once a week. It was look, Lane Kiffin is the perfect heel for college football. He knows what he is, and he does this to rile up opposing fan bases. Now it's almost what are you doing now?
Opposing? During the middle of that decision, he's out here tweeting the daily devotionals that were super, everyone was very pointed to either I'm leaving or I'm staying. Do y'all remember that? Or we're tweeting out the photo of our little 3-paragraph summary, and the 3-paragraph summary is you should leave because the people at the place you're at don't love you enough right now.
Which is why.
And tomorrow's like, you should stay because look at what you've built. It's all yours, and this is what the Lord intended for you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 2 to 3 years ago he wasn't doing that, but now he's gone too far into the bit. So.
All right, we've gone too far into the national hour. We got a whole nother hour coming up next. It's a great one. We've got NFL Combine coming up, and I'm going to give you my NFL draft profiles and evals of all the Georgia players involved. See you on the other side of the break.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back here on the Film Guy Network for a loaded local hour. We got an absolutely slam-packed one for you. Went and saw Kemon Spell, the 5-star running back commit, yesterday. He was down here in Gainesville, Georgia. I froze my backside off just for this eval for you guys. Maybe we give you a future 5-star 14-year-old quarterback eval. I don't know. Might do that. I don't know if he's going to be a future 5-star either. Draft evals for all dogs tonight. Top draft selections for next year. We might get to that. And what did the misses do? I think it's a good segment. Spoke to some sources inside the building. I put a list together of 2024 high school recruits that I felt like Georgia missed on. These were guys they actively recruited that they lost and that went elsewhere. I had the boys run down their 2-year career so far. We're going to see what comes out of that. I like to do that sometimes with former recruiting storylines and just, I don't know, see what pops out. Anything obvious? Like just
there's a noticeable trend.
You notice a trend?
There's
okay.
a big trend.
There's a noticeable trend, so says Christian and Jonathan's research of the quote-unquote misses. Let's start with one of the lands, all right, and land a like button on this video if you haven't already. Let's start with the lands, and that is Kemon Spell, the 5-star running back out of Pennsylvania, was down here in Gainesville, Georgia this weekend, about 30 minutes up the road, about 10 minutes from old Stretch over there. Yeah. And he was playing 7-on-7 for a team called Cash Cow.
Oh, lovely.
I wonder what that means.
Oh, they get into that bread. The team Cash Cow, I watched them play 2 games, and I got a great in-person eval on Kemon Spell. Let's start first and foremost with the tape. We know the football tape. We've watched the football tape. The football tape around here is absolutely paramount, and this football tape is nuts. This tape is explosive. This tape is real. I went and watched him play 7-on-7, which is not real football. We know this, especially for a guy who's going to play running back in college. It's not real football. However, you can see the obvious things, right? The things that people tell you about athletes in layman's terms. He is an insane athlete in the layman's terms. He's really, really fast. He's really, really smooth. He can jump really high. He's got great hands. He's got elite spatial awareness. That's a nerdy one. Those ones at the top, those are the obvious, right? Every 5-star's got those at the skill positions. But here's what I was most impressed by, and here's why I go watch these things even when they seemingly don't matter. On offense, he's playing running back when they need a running back, but he's mostly playing X. And when they need their slot to be good, he's playing in the slot. And on defense, he's playing safety. And on defense, the next possession, he's playing linebacker. And on the defense, the next possession, he's playing corner. And this is what I really, really love about doing my job is when you find people who obviously are meant and placed on this earth to play football. This one is, because it's like breathing to him. It was like, oh, I'm just here, so I'm just going to do what I need to do. And also, like we're a running back playing corner, safety, and linebacker in a 7-on-7 game that most people don't care about. I don't really care about, but playing zone, playing man, playing mixed match coverages a little bit, showing some little different looks, okay, and knowing what to do at 3 separate positions. That's, for a running back high school football player, not par for the course, Okay, not par for the course to know the corner's responsibilities in cover 2 and then go flip and say, okay, well, now I'm going to play the short side safety in cover 1. All right, the next possession, I'm the mid-hook hole player in cover 4. Like, that's a football brain going on right there. I enjoy watching those things. Here's what my notes say. He's a football player with high IQ and a high talent floor, and that goes a long way. If you're a high IQ football player who obviously breathes football and you have a high talent floor, you're going to be really, really good. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to be really, really good. Also, obviously good teammate. There's some 7-on-7 stuff going on that every time I go out to 7-on-7, I'm like, oh, that's why I don't come to these things all that often anymore. I wish that stuff would stop, but, there is one 7-on-7 coach I thoroughly enjoy, and I'm going to take my time because every time I go watch him, I appreciate him. You will never hear me ever say one crossword about Cam Newton. And I know we're a local hour Georgia guy. You'll love this Auburn guy.
Come on.
not a single crossword ever said on this platform about that guy because, not only does he spend like $250,000 every year funding all this 7-on-7 stuff out of his own pocket and out of his own dime, flying those kids in and out, traveling everywhere, going to camps, going to colleges, doing everything out of the goodness of his own heart. He's an actual football coach. He actually coaches. That's what I appreciate about him. Every time I watch one of these 7-on-7s, the damn guy that holds the iPad that shows them the play sits behind the quarterback, and he's like, throw the post. Oh, what the hell? Why are you throwing post? Not Cam. Cam just calls the play, sits back, and then in between games, they're watching film over there. Watching film, breaking it down. Okay, so, and coaching, actually coaching. I appreciate that about him. But yeah, Kemon Spell, he going to be one of them ones.
Good as advertised, huh?
For sure. And I don't think players who are out here able to be bought are shutting stuff down like he did.
Yeah, he's done some interesting things already. Like canceled all of his visits, correct? I think is what he said.
Dude, canceling them all, ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I had a source tell me that he's going to be down here so much they honestly thought financially it might make sense to just move.
Oh. Like play high school football?
I don't know.
Huh.
But just he's going to be down here this spring so often that they feel like Georgia residents is what it feels like. So I don't think this kid. By the way, we're in hopes to get him on this network. I would have interviewed him yesterday, but there was some 7-on-7 stuff going on, like I mentioned. I'm gonna ask him this if he ends up coming on the show like he said he would. I wholeheartedly believe if James Franklin's not fired, we're not even in this discussion. I think this kid's a loyalist at heart.
It seemed that way.
I think when he decides what he wants, that's what he wants, and there ain't nothing pushing him off of it.
And also, and this has nothing to do with Kemon Spell, I think positions like running back and wide receiver might be less enticable than, of course, the quarterback position. Because with the quarterback, there's the promise of you'll be our star, your starting freshman year, and, of course, money, which any position can get. But I feel like at running back, you're harder to advertise of, or there's less incentives to be like, oh, you're a guy when you get here day one, because freshmen can get carries. Like, it's not the option of there's only one quarterback that's on the field at a time. Like, teams cycle 2 to 3 running backs. So it's harder to sway players at those positions, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. Of typically there's a natural transition typically for running backs. Like, even if you're really good as a freshman, odds are you're going to work your way into the mix with veteran guys ahead of you, and then eventually the spotlight opens up for you to be the guy, where it's not – and also, a whole lot easier to play multiple running backs than it is a quarterback, where it's – hey, there's one guy out there on the field, and he's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I worry so much about recruiting high school quarterbacks nowadays because once you get them there, if they don't play and play well immediately, like you have to re-recruit them every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except for guys there are certain examples. Like, I don't think Puglisi ever had to be re-recruited to stay at the University of Georgia.
Doesn't sound like it.
There are certain guys, and I think at that position, at quarterback, it's important to identify guys that realize if I'm not good enough to play here, then the answer is I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Those are the guys you need to find that are hell-bent on playing in the NFL, but also realize that if I can't beat out a college quarterback at the University of Georgia, then I'm not one of the 32 best, and I might not ever be unless I can beat this guy. Mm-hmm. And that's rare to find that mentality,
Sure
though.
is.
Because some of these guys think they can just play their way into it.
Just need a chance.
No, I just need playing time. I'm good enough. I just need playing time. That's what most of the opinions are. And I do understand some of that route in terms of like getting the reps up and getting the development and making sure that we're good years 2 and 3 and 4. I've also seen it go the other way where we play at a young age and we stun our growth because everything around us isn't good enough or we're not ready, and we go through growing pains that up until that point in our career we'd never seen. Some of these guys come to college and have never failed athletically, ever. And that's very hard to, absorb at 19 years old. All right, so that was the Kemon Spell eval. Mm-hmm. I got a lot more. Y'all want all these other evals?
Let's hear all the evals.
I've got 10 of them. All right, let's pull them up. I'm going to go in order in which I think I would draft these football players, not in the order in which I think they will be drafted. That make sense?
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to give you pros, cons, a comp, and a reality comp.
Okay.
A high comp, a low comp, and what the reality of the player I think is going to be. You ready?
Yep.
Let's start with Moreau Freeling. I think he's going to be a top 20, maybe top 15 pick by the time all is said and done. Let's start with the pros. 6'7", 320-pound frame that has little to no bad weight on it. Could honestly play at 335 with a breeze. It might need to. We're going to talk about that in the cons section. Ankle, hip, and knee bend are superb. He plays with an uncommonly flat back with the ability to bring his hips and feet back up underneath him at all times. If you've watched Monroe over the years, and if you've watched NFL Draft Twitter, you will find clips of him playing chest over toes, or as we call it, nose over toes. We say that is the no-nos. I was about to say the anti-you-know-what. That is the no-no in the offensive line world, unless you're a twitched-up athletic freak that can bring his feet and his hips back up underneath him in order to avoid falling over. He does that really, really well for a player that's as big and as long as he is. Plays with a tremendous amount of fluidity in space in the screen game and has a high motor to finish. Turn on that Sugar Bowl game. He is playing with his hair on fire. All right, and most of his career, he did exactly that. It's my favorite note about him. The Yogi pedigree shows up in lower body mobility.
The Yogi, like Yogi Bear?
Oh, so you don't know. Mama's certified yogi.
Oh,
Mama's a
yoga.
yogi master.
Can we just say yoga?
No. She's a yogi.
Can we just say yoga?
Jonathan, she teaches yoga. She's a yogi.
Is that
Plural yoga.
Is that a thing? Or is it
Yes,
just a
you
word?
are. If you are the teacher in a yoga class, you are the yogi.
I thought it was just yoga instructor. I've
No, sir.
never heard it called
Okay, for
yogi.
people that are unaware and uneducated in the yoga universe.
Mama is a yogi or yoga.
All right.
But yeah, it shows up. I mean, we have tremendous ankle dexterity, most importantly. Okay, we can really bend in the hinges, if you will. Length paired with twitch in the feet make for a high-end pass protector on the left side. All right, those are all the pros. You ready for the cons?
Uh-oh.
Tends to play overextended in both the run and pass. You will find him nose over toes due to overaggression and a lack of known anchor. Okay? If you've played offensive line, this will resonate with you. The only reason, in my opinion, that we play chest over toes or nose over toes, we play, or in other words, overextended, is because we do not have trust in our ability to engage our hips and then move that player or hold that player against his will. We feel like we have to play with our lean. We feel like we have to play with our nose and our screws. And in reality, if we just got stronger, or in his case, I think a little bit heavier, we might not need those things. So there is that. You ready for the comp?
Yep.
High-end comp. Layup, Joe Alt. It's going to get talked about. I mean, if he runs anything close to a 1.78, 10 split in the 40, Daniel Jeremiah will pull that right up. It will just be right there with him, and he'll say something along the lines of, I'm not saying he is this, but the profile says he is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, the low end. And doing these comps, I realized, good Lord, I am detached from NFL football. I had to find me a 6'7" offensive tackle that's just okay. And I found Walker Little, the tackle out of Stanford. He spent He spent 5 years with the Jags, and he's okay.
Yeah.
He's just okay. I think the reality, however, of this situation with Monroe is that I think there's an 85% chance he will be a top 32 tackle in the league for 8 years and play 12.
Yeah.
I think that's what we got going on right here.
And that's why I was going to say, like, now these guys aren't the same pedigree, if you will. Like, this guy's about 2 inches shorter, and I want to say this guy's heavier than Monroe is. But this is kind of the way that I see Monroe's career going, of like Jake Matthews with the Falcons, where he's been the starter and played. I think he has the record right, or not the record, but he has played the most consecutive games at left tackle for the Atlanta Falcons out of anybody in the league.
Oh, and he's going to make about $150 million.
Yeah, he's just going to play a long time. He's always going to be good. Like, he's never going to be a sour spot on the offensive line.
It's a good comp. He's very clean.
Now, again, 2 different profiles, but yeah, just a very clean football player.
I was thinking of the low end of that. I was thinking, who's my man that the Bengals drafted out of Alabama several years ago? Played left to Jonah Williams. I was thinking, but he's only like 6'5".
Yeah.
I can tell you who the Raiders drafted out of Alabama at the tackle position.
That was Leatherwood, right?
Yep.
His eyes are dead over there. We got to get camera 4 a little bit tighter on you when you do that. That was good acting right there. Oh
thanks,
wait,
man.
you actually are dead inside.
No, I'm not acting. Don't worry.
This is not a shill. On to C.J. Allen, who, Christen Miller might be drafted before him. Zachariah Branch might be drafted before him. I don't know. You think C.J. Allen goes second?
Out of Georgia players?
Yeah. We think Monroe goes 1.
There's
clear cut.
There's a possibility, honestly.
Yeah. We'll see.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, a monstrous combine, and who knows? Like, the evaluations are going to change so much in the next week and a half that who knows?
CJ's just in one of those positions, too, where, like, this happens to be a really loaded group of linebackers.
Yep.
So it's just one of those unfortunate situations.
A natural nose for the ball carrier. He will find the rock and is a sure tackler. Elite play recognition skills, is the true leader of a defense from an IQ standpoint. Assignment, alignment, and execution rates are sky high with this football player. No fear of taking on blockers in the box. Can button press and avoid if need be. There are 2 ways to approach an oncoming offensive lineman or blocker. When space is tight and condensed, we have to use the 2 screws on the top of our helmet and do what we call button press. We got to butt him with our head, press him out, find the ball carrier, peek and shed. All right. Then there's avoidance of the block entirely. And we have to play with our spatial awareness cues right there in order to choose which one of those we do. If an offensive lineman free releases and walks up to me unavoided or unevaded, I have to make him miss and avoid him, restack my gap, and make a play. He can do both, all right? And very rarely nowadays do I find linebackers who can, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I find a lot of linebackers doing a ton of avoidance, and it's not my cup of tea. I'm a guy who is born and bred off button and pressing and 2-gap and gap assignment football and alignment football. I do see the pros to a team that's all block avoidance. It's just not my bag. And I don't think it's the preferred method for the NFL either. They want guys that can stand in the box, see a 330-pounder coming at them, and strike them in the chest and then shed the block. This kid can do that. Consistent player with no down days on tape or as a person. Played through injury. And I add this because Kirby talks about it ad nauseum, and I think it's important. They need guys that they know can play 16. That's what they need. And this guy has done everything but play through a damn torn hamstring before.
And I think it's worth noting that sometimes when you watch tape of these guys, you go, he's clearly not himself. We didn't really say that about C.J. Allen at all this season until it was, oh, wow, he's hit another gear once he finally started getting healthy. It was never, guys, I don't think C.J. Allen's fully there right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's definitely battling something.
It's a great point, Christian, because I don't even think until after he won like linebacker of the week or defender of the week that Kirby revealed that he'd been hobbled with a hamstring tightness.
Right.
So it's a great point there. Here's a pro for him. Quote, what if we miss on the next Nakobe Dean? I think there's a lot of NFL organizations that watched Nakobe this last year and a half and were like, damn it.
That stupid shoulder, we let it get to us.
Peck. Not even a shoulder, damn
Peck.
Peck.
That's what it was.
Peck in a presumed slow 40. And we're like, hey, we're not going to draft the Butkus Award winner. He's only 5'11".
No, never.
And we think he might only run 4.78. Let's just not draft. Let's let him go 3rd round to the E. Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
One team that probably we shouldn't let draft him, we let draft him.
And he looks like he might. I again, don't watch a lot of NFL football, but I follow the
He's
Dogs.
dealt with some injuries. He's had to miss some time. But when he's on the field, he's really good.
But aren't they shaping up for him to be the future of the room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Him and Jihad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Explosive athlete when downhill and sideline to sideline. You notice what I avoided right there.
Explosive athlete, downhill, sideline to sideline, pass coverage.
Yeah, I don't know how well we turn and run, which goes up to my next point, which are the cons. We're not 6'3", we're not 240 pounds. We're only 6'1", we're only 235.
Really?
And it's plenty big, but it's not, I got to draft you first round big, which some of these guys are.
And, like, going to the point that you're making, like, really the only play where I can think of in my mind that I can think, like, oh, C.J. Allen got there was 2024 Alabama when they hit him with a wheel route, and he could not keep up with Jam Miller, and it was a wide-open touchdown.
So that's what part of my notes say right here. He covers with instincts, not with raw traits in space.
Yeah.
Like, if he had raw traits in that moment on the road at Alabama, we'd have flipped our hips, we'd have had some recovery speed, we would have got in the mix.
Right.
The next time they run that, he jumps the shit out of it because he plays with tremendous instincts and covers with tremendous instincts. I do think he's slightly tight-hipped, though. You guys know I'm a big knee drive guy. I mean, we pause so much film looking at where our knee actually rises in our stride pattern, and we're relatively tight-hipped, and we can see that in our, I'm not going to say inability to turn and run, but we do not turn, run, cover ground, flip our hips, settle, as well as some of these other guys in this draft.
That's fair.
So, like the Rodriguez kid is so fluid in everything that he does. York, I know he's small, but he's fluid in everything that he does. Anthony Hill is much bigger and much more fluid in the other stuff that the game requires you to do nowadays.
Right.
It's gonna be the combine that will be what determines whether or not he is a first-round pick or a mid-tier second-round pick because of those drills, like you said, turning and running. That's going to be, I think, what's his most important. Like, the 40 time is the 40 time.
Honestly, I think he's going to be fast.
Yeah, he'll be fast. I think what's going to be most important for him, because like you said, you have evals on him. I guarantee you 32 NFL scouting departments have done the same thing. Say he might be tight-hip, turning and running might be a concern. That drill where they have him basically run the star is going to be the most important for him.
All right, here comes the comps. I think he's the exact middle ground between Roquan Smith and Nakobe Dean from a physical standpoint. I think he has some of the stiffness that Nakobe plays with. I think he's like 85% the physical athlete that Roquan is. And I think, honestly, he's like 85% of the football, human cerebral savant that Nakobe is. I told the boys before the show, C.J. Allen is very much so watch how I work, everybody watch what I do, and then go do it. Nakobe is going to grab you by the face mask, tell you how it's done, and then make you watch how he does it. I think that's the difference. That's the last 15% of that. I think the reality for what C.J. Allen's career is going to be is he's going to be the leader of your defense by year 3, and he'll be the leader of your defensive organization by year 5.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What a bad outlook.
Yeah, no. I think you'd be goofy not to draft that, especially when those linebackers start flying off the board. He better be the one you grab too after these higher valued draft players are off the board. Coming up next, a fan favorite, hometown Film Guy Network savant and aficionado, Christen Miller, defensive tackle. Here come the pros. Fundamental freak. Fundamental freak. Takes clear pride in playing with the technique required and doing so correctly. And the way he does that is through block awareness. This kid prepares his body for the impending contact better than most. We spent the first 4 or 5 weeks watching him in slow-mo and watching him fire off the ball, realize there's double teams coming. We're already getting skinny and dropping to a knee before contact even arises. And then we stalemate the double team and we split it and we make a TFL. That type of stuff is all over the tape. We realize down blocks coming and we see backside guard pulling. So now we're going to fight across the face of the down block because we know here comes counter. The dude's football intellect and football awareness is obvious on tape. And what's really surprising from a guy who's 6'4" is he's a pad level winner. I don't know about you guys. I can't find a single clip or remember a single clip of Christen Miller getting his shit jacked up.
No.
Of somebody up underneath his chin strap and winning because, we're playing too high, which, again, we're a 6'4" football player. That's really impressive. I will say this. I don't think his hands are as violent or as powerful as they are crafty.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never seen a bad pad level. I've never seen a moment where I felt like we exploded someone's chest because we just struck them so hard.
Yeah, I don't want to give the comp too quickly, so you go ahead and finish the.
I guarantee you my comps are nowhere near yours.
Well, go ahead. You just do yours.
Because I'm off the wall. A down-to-down winner that has very few lowlights in his tape and profile now over 2 years of starting tape.
I like it.
He wins with acquired skills, not raw strength.
Yeah.
A tremendous joy to be around, if that matters to you. If you like coming to work, if you like spending time around people who are good people and bring a joy to the room, this is one of those ones. It's just rare that they end up on the defensive line. Normally those guys are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've said this about all the players so far. Like, can't ever remember a bad game from Christen Miller over his entire career. Can't ever remember coming in to watch film on the next day and being like, "Ooh, not 52's best game day." Like, it was always just really solid football. And then there are other times where it's like, "God dang, that guy was the best player on the field."
And here's my cons for him: not exactly a flash player at a position that almost puts a premium on flash plays nowadays.
Yes.
If you're a D tackle that's average 90% of the snaps, but those 10% of the snaps you show, oh my God, he might be the next 9-sack D tackle, you're going to get paid $100 million. You just are. And I don't know if he has those moments. In fact, I don't think he does. I just think he's a good high-floor football player that doesn't get looked at like a premier player because he doesn't have these flashes.
Right.
But who cares if I'm great 95% of the snaps?
And this is where I came up to my comp. And it's not a player comp per se, but if you took the sum of all of Jalen Carter's plays and you average out every great play and every low play, I think the average of that would be what Christen Miller is. Because for as many, oh my God, Jalen Carter just killed a double team and made a 5-yard tackle for loss, there was he's very clearly taking this play off.
Oh, dude, Jalen to this day is still very selective with his effort.
Yes.
He's like, oh, it's 3rd and 2. Punt,
right?
Like that's what he's like.
Yeah, but again, like Christen is not going to be this where it's going to be like some plays like, oh my God, why can't you do this every play? But it's also never going to be like, oh, that guy's definitely loafing right now or taking the play off or he's getting his ass kicked. He's just going through the motions.
Still feel like there are moments where we have to learn how to finish. There were too many times, especially this last year, where an all-out like mad rush to the quarterback, I'm trying to get home and get a sack, ultimately just ends up into, oh shit, we just flushed the quarterback out of the pocket. We rarely ever broke down. We rarely brought ourselves to balance, and we couldn't finish because of that reason. We're almost like a little kid. We're just too excited back there. We just gotta breathe, baby. We got to finish back there. Comp. Could he be Christian Barmore?
Oh.
Okay.
It could, yeah.
Now here's what kind of pushed me off of this comp. Barmore had 8 sacks, his last year at Alabama. But I kept going back to these NFL like high quality defensive tackles that Alabama spit out for a decade, I felt like. This is what this is. I feel like this is a high quality NFL starter. The low end of the player comp for me is any rotational 3-tech you've got in the league. Like anybody that plays 12 to 15 snaps a game. I think the reality for Christian is that he's going to give you 35 snaps of high-quality football per game until you inevitably have to extend him because the free agent market gives you nothing better.
I think that's a very solid fair comp for him.
Let's move on to Zachariah Branch. The rare combination of twitchy and fast. The difference. I think of twitch as short area explosiveness. All right. I think of fast as long speed. Okay. He's the rare combination of a person who has both. He has the ability to, I think, set the NFL record in the 5.10.5 while also running 4.38 or 4.34 sub, something like that, while also being a sub 10.5 guy in the 100-meter. We just don't have those types of body types very often. You either are good 20 to 60 or you're good 0 to 20. Very rarely are you great at both. He is. He's extremely tough to tackle, but from both a missability standpoint, And his contact balance was something I didn't really know. Like, I knew you could make somebody look stupid. I knew we could kind of run away from people. What I didn't know is that we were going to take full blows to the midsection, just kind of pinball 2 yards to the side, catch our feet again, and reaccelerate. That I was unaware of. We have tremendous contact balance. We're really, really hard to hit, and we're condensed, and we have a small strike zone. That's hard to tackle. I can't really get a hand on you, and to hit you in your midsection, which if you've ever heard anything about whether it be guarding somebody in basketball or tackling someone in football, the only thing that don't move is his belly button, right? Well, what if his midsection is like that? What if his strike zone's like that and it's doing this? I can't hit him. That's what happens all the time on tape. Another pro for him, he's an extension of the run game demon because of all of this. He will stretch your run game sideline to sideline. If you draft this guy, you're immediately making people defend the run game 53 yards. That's what you're doing. Because of those, let's just get him the ball now, see what he does. He's going to make 5 yards, and then boom, 2nd and 5. That's just as efficient and honestly a little bit more ideal than let's line up in the eye, run ISO for 5 yards and end up in 2nd and 5. It's just as efficient and better for your long-term health of your organization, if we're being honest. Sure-handed when the ball is placed on him. That's the important part. It's got to be, I think, put on his frame, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Is not all that big. I think he showed a willingness, keyword willingness, to block in attached formations. And again, don't watch a ton of NFL football, but every time I turn it on, Jonathan, and you guys watch a lot more of it, everybody's bunching, everybody's in condensed sets, everybody's got trip stack bunch right inside the box.
Oh, for sure.
So you better be able to go hit a 240-pound MFer in the mouth, or at least be willing to do so. He's willing to do so. I don't know if we can execute it, which goes to my cons. Limited catch radius.
Yep.
Very limited. If I told you we're going to measure in 5'9", 182 pounds, probably right around then or right around there, with relatively short arms.
Yeah.
Like we're not like Zacoby White seems disproportionate. He seems like he got really long arms when you look at him, which helps with these types of catch radius things. I felt like if you watched really, really closely with Zachariah this year, anything over the middle of the field, about midway as the ball was arriving, Zachariah would jump, and he'd try to get his belly or his body in front of the ball.
Yep.
Y'all notice this? You know what that is, right?
Well, it's just creating assurance that we're about to catch the ball.
It's creating assurance, but
Not trusting your hands.
There you go, Kirby. It's not trusting your hands. Okay, if I've got good natural feel for my hands, if I see a ball at my eyes, I'm just going to pluck it and keep running. If I feel like I got to jump to put that ball in my mid frame of my body work, that's not a good sign. Okay, and I saw a lot of that this year. Okay, and we got I don't know if we can clean it up because I think he led USC in drops the year before. So there's that. Willingness to block does not mean effectiveness to block. I do worry about him being. I mean, what teams don't run the condensed? Who's not running Kyle Shanahan's offense?
I'm not
like
that deep.
A third of the league, half the league.
Yeah,
Most of the league is running under the center wide zone concepts out of like what McVay's doing, what Shanahan's doing, what those guys are, what buddy that's now at Ohio State was doing.
Arthur Smith
was doing it. Okay, most of the league is doing that, which means we've got to be able to get in there, and I don't know if we will. I know we will. I don't know if we can. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
right.
So there's that. Comps on the high end. How about Tavon Austin? Or how about this? This one's better. I like this one a lot better. Just give me the receiving career of Darren Sproles.
That's fair.
Here's the team that should draft Zachariah, honest to God. Give Sean Payton this kid.
Yeah.
See what happens.
No.
AFC West out there shaking in his Ugg boots.
Ugg boots? I do not own a single pair of Ugg.
I don't know, Motion Twin. You might. Where are we at?
Motion.
Low end. I hate to do this. Miko Hardman.
I mean,
A guy that has what if the inward breaking routes? What if we can't catch football in those?
Yeah, I mean, there's a real possibility of that. I would say that Mecole Hardman is a guy who has consistently been able to earn spots on rosters throughout the year and has been effective. Now, I'm not even going to throw the Super Bowl champion out because that's team luck, but Mecole Hardman has been an extremely effective player throughout a career. He's pushing 7 to 8 years in the league.
Mecole's career at the early part of it would have been much more impactful under the current rules because of the kickoffs. Mm-hmm. This guy, at the very least, will create a special teams headache from a preparation standpoint every single week if you draft him.
Yeah, I think what you have to...
Isn't that... Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Isn't that body type of the kickoff return specialist nowadays more built like running back? Like, they're not trying to get the... who was number 12 that played for the Ravens?
Jacoby Jones.
They're not trying to do that no more.
No.
They're trying to get, like, basically a ball carrier back there, not a track athlete.
Correct.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think that if you're drafting Zachariah Branch, you are looking for someone who can kind of gadgety, be an extension of the run game for you, be a headache on special teams, be an absolute weapon there, and can be the accent that makes your offense that much harder to defend. I don't think anyone's going to look to make the Zachariah Branch their focal point of the offense. No. I don't think you can do what Georgia did with him this year because of, like you said, the size limitations, how the majority of his catches are going to come from at or behind the line of scrimmage. However, if you can accent him with a good X and a strong Z, he becomes a nightmare because then it's not only do we have to worry about the perimeter, we have to also worry about screens and out of the slot type things. And he has shown that he can make deep catches. So it's not like it's don't even put that in the playbook for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just, I don't know. If we're 5'11", I'd be all over it. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the size is what it is. We know that, but there's also success stories of that. So, how tall is Xavier Worthy?
Xavier Worthy's like 5'11". There are a lot of success stories.
There's a handful of them
There's a lot of success stories of 5'9", 182-pounders in the league.
Not a lot, but there's enough to make you say, okay, this could work.
I think he's special enough. I think he works like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is definitely I think it would be a mistake if he falls outside of the top 3 rounds is what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure.
I just don't know if we're like a guaranteed all-pro.
Sure.
I'm getting at. Let's move on to Dalon Ever. Long-limbed, top-end guy with a versatile structure background coming from Georgia. Right? Mm-hmm. If you come out of that place, I know you can pretty much play everything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, whether or not that's your specialty, we'll have to find out. But I know if I draft you, you know how to play whatever structure we got going on. There's no worry about that. NFL big pedigree place. I don't know if you know this, but NFL is IMG Academy 5-star, goes to Georgia, plays for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's pedigree of all pedigrees. That pedigree is only surpassed by the guy that's going to replace him next year, Ellis Robinson.
Right.
Like the only way you can have a higher pedigree is if Dalon were the 2nd-ranked player in the country instead of the 32nd-ranked player in the country coming out of high school. I think a lot of people forget this was a 5-star. This is a blue-chip football player coming out of IMG Academy. Has ball production during his college career and limited negatives after a first year starting and getting picked on opposite of Kamari last year, which is to be expected. I think looking back on his first year as a starter now with hindsight of how great Kamari was, makes a whole hell of a lot more sense.
Of course it does, yeah.
To us. We say of course, but I had to say that because there were probably some fans on here that thought Dalon sucked.
Oh, there were.
Still do.
There were definitely.
I still think he sucks.
I vividly remember trying to get people off the ledge mid-2023 because it's like, guys, I don't think you understand how good number 3 is and how number 6 is doing a very solid job right
Guys, there's going to be 34 passes thrown today, and ain't none of them going over there to number 3, and ain't none of them going anywhere near number 24. So where are we going today? Oh, that guy, he's brand new. That's where it's going.
By the way, they've got a all-SEC nickel as well this time.
Yeah. That was a good unit.
Yeah.
Really good secondary.
It's a good unit.
And Dan Jackson.
Oh, yeah. I think this is important to note. I felt like Dalon had his biggest games versus Georgia's biggest competition.
Yeah, he showed up in big moments.
I mean, absolutely. Had 3 picks against Texas.
Totally, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a pick against Alabama this year in the SEC championship game.
Yep. Had the
I
scoop
felt-
and score versus Ole Miss.
Had the scoop and score versus Ole Miss. I felt like there's a scoop and score versus Ole Miss?
Yeah. There was a fumble.
Sugar Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an idiot. You're right. Yeah.
No, I remember.
You had
Don't
the
worry.
look
Yeah.
too of like,
I'm-
really?
I'm trying
I'm
to
like,
remember
you
who.
don't
I'm trying to remember
remember
who put a hat on the ball.
I don't remember.
It was Dink.
Yes.
It was Dink. It
Yes.
was Kemon Lacey fumble and Dalon picked it up.
See, it's there. You just gotta sprinkle it a little bit, and then it's like, never a vulnerability. I didn't feel like he was ever a vulnerability. Even in his early career, I feel like he was tight in coverage.
Yeah,
get picked on a
never
little
a
bit.
panicked player. Never shows that. Never shows the, there's a deep ball being thrown my way. I'm just going to latch on and make sure that he doesn't catch it. And I'm
I
gonna
would call
throw
him
the
a
flag.
willing tackler. I would not put him in the Kamari Lassiter, DeMello
Yeah.
Jones category.
No,
of
I mean
Georgia
those. I
corners.
think those guys are like A tier. Like this is the premier. Like if you are a tackler, this is what you are. But he's more than
So
willing.
we morphed. Oh, let's go do the cons. I think he's a long speed based corner. I don't absolutely love his redirect ability.
That's fair.
I think he's faster in that 5 to 10 and then 10 to 20 than he is 0 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think that leads for a propensity to get stuck at times.
Yes.
I feel like we've gotten stuck on tape a couple of times.
I was
at
going
the
to say the
position.
change of direction. I think is probably
COD,
his biggest red flag for me. But
which
it's not
is
horrible.
kind of, it's not Keely Ringo bad. Let's put it that way.
That's fair.
I felt like Keely, if he ain't in a straight line,
Yeah.
not so much with Dalon, which is what leads me to my comp. We morphed Nakobe and Roquan earlier. Any guesses on what two Georgia corners I have morphed to create
One of
Dalon
them's
Ever?
got to be Eric Stokes with the speed.
Huh. Speed and the stiffness.
Mm-hmm.
We're pointy. You ever notice that about Dalon?
Yeah.
We're a very pointy human being.
Yes.
Our elbows are pointy. Our knees are pointy. We're pointy.
I'm going to
Are
say.
we morphing Tyson and
I was
Eric
gonna say,
Stokes
you're-
because Tyson has the size?
That's what I was going to say. I think you're morphing Tyson and Eric Stokes.
Yeah.
Because he does kind of look like Tyson. He's built like Tyson.
Yeah. And kind of moves like Stokes
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the ball skills of the in between the two.
And two corners that have made a career in the NFL.
I don't know if I'd say. I think he's got better ball skills than Tyson Campbell.
Campbell's got really good ball skills. I don't know if he's got great ball production, but if you go watch him pluck a football, he's got natural hands.
That's fair.
Stokes looks like he's got two frying pans
I would
taped
say
to his hands.
I would say Dalon Everett is much more close to Tyson Campbell than Eric Stokes.
That's one of my all-time your box score scouting takes. I exposed so many people with that one.
What, the 2020 season?
No, when I was like, guys, going into the draft process, I was like, guys, Eric Stokes cannot catch the football. And I was like, oh, you guys, how many picks? Look at all the picks. Like, every single pick of Eric Stokes' career, the ball, he had no choice but to catch it. It literally caught him. It was thrown into his gullet. Then he goes to God bless him. He's a great NFL football player. He's a Raider,
Yes,
right?
he is.
Did he play well this year?
Had a good season.
Yeah, I
very,
mean,
very underrated
Dude,
season.
gonna be in your hip pocket at all times. Can't catch a cold. Just can't do it. It's all right though. They said at Eastside they just handed him the ball and just said,
I would have
As
two
long-
at that speed.
As long
"Aye,
as the other
Captain.
guy's not catching it, who cares?
Aye, Captain." Reality: 7-year starter floor. Don't know if he'll ever be a true quote unquote lockdown dude though.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
I would be surprised if we look up in 3 years and they talk about Dalon like they now talk about Kamari.
No,
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know if that'll be. I think
But
honestly,
coming out, I felt that about Kamari.
I think from a career trajectory, I think Tyson Campbell is also a very good comp. Like Tyson
Yeah.
Campbell has been looked at as
Second team, doing
So-
better now.
solid NFL corner, never going to be the best defender on the field, but also never going to be the worst. Is always just going to be like does his job well.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Oscar Delp. This seems to be NFL Draft Twitter's love child.
Picking up some steam.
Yeah, dude. Holy
Boy,
shit.
is he ever.
NFL draft my guys.
Wait till he runs the 40.
He is the prototypical physical specimen at the position. 6'5", 250 pounds. He will run 4.52.
Yep.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the trainers have found a way to make this kid run 4.49 fast. Honest to God, he could make $10 million at the 40 if he runs like I think he could have. If we spent the last 4 months training the 40, Oscar Delp could run a 4.49. It's that crazy.
I believe it.
senior tape blocking, or the senior blocking tape, showed what coaches spoke about. And when I say coaches, I mean Todd Hartley. Todd Hartley speaks about this guy like he is arguably the best blocking tight end they've ever had. And I wouldn't even say the senior tape showed that, but the senior tape showed this guy's really, really good. This guy's a great blocker, particularly in space. Attaches really, really well to second and third level defenders. And that's the important part. When I'm a 250-pound man going to block a 200-pound corner, I know I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win the physicality battle there. The hard part is getting attached, getting out there and putting my hands on you and unzipping my feet on you. He did such a great job in that. The 12 personnel screen packaging at Georgia this year was so much better than it had been in years prior, and I thought most of that was due to Oscar and obviously Lawson as well. He has strong and dependable hands. I don't think I remember a drop.
No?
I think they were strong and dependable.
He had a drop against Alabama in 2024.
Okay.
Deep ball.
Okay. Here's my cons. I think he's got dependable hands, but I don't think this dude's got a huge catch radius.
Yeah.
He's not one for the acrobatics.
Yeah.
I've never, and I know it's hard to compare him to the other guy, but the other guy had 7 or 8 of them a year, where it's like, oh my God, he just pulled that off that kid's helmet. Now, Bauer's got a lot of those, it's Brock, I'm going to just throw this, and then he's going to make that play. And maybe Oscar never got that freedom.
Yeah, I think that there's certainly that aspect of it. He did have
I'm just thinking about sorry to cut you off again. There's a ball against Kentucky where we have an opportunity, I think it's 2024, we have an opportunity to kind of back shoulder it. We get one hand on it, and it kind of flutters. There's several plays. Oh, Auburn touchdown 2024. We're necking up the seam. Carson looks like he misses us by 2 yards on TV copy, but if you look at it in all 22, if we just make a minor adjustment, maybe even lay out, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Like I felt like we were not at 6'5", 250 pounds and this Adonis of an athlete. I did not feel like we created as many mismatches or trustable moments as we probably should.
That's definitely fair. I do think he did show that he at least can make those plays. I think back to the 2023 Florida game where he catches that wheel route one-handed over his shoulder. I think it was his first catch of the game. It was the first.
Oh, yeah, his hands kind of pinned to his waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, or his hips. Yeah, you're right.
So
okay.
We got some of them. He's got the ability to do it, but I don't think he did it as frequently as Brock did.
How much of a separator prior to the catch is Oscar Delp? Like, I know we've seen, and we're going to get into this, I know we've seen the clip of him versus Kentucky running away from somebody.
That's what's going viral.
But how many times did we see that in the route?
Right.
You know what I mean? Apart from, we out and upped him off fake truck toss and he's naked down the sideline. Like, how many times have you see what I'm getting at?
Oh, no, yeah for sure.
So that's kind of a con for me. Also, the way you become a security blanket, it's like I got texts all over my phone about like, why didn't Oscar get used this year at Georgia? He looks like a freak. All those I trust you, all that you're my guy, all that comes in practice. So and now it might be due to the fact that with the team with Zachariah Branch on it and Colby Young on it, well then Oscar Delp's not in the equation anymore. We're going to these other two guys. Maybe it's something like that. But if you were top 45 eval, like some people were talking about this kid, you would get force-fed.
Yeah.
You would get force-fed. And I feel like we didn't get force-fed at all in our career. And as much of us as I've seen that Kentucky clip, we had 41 grabs the last 2 years. How many yards after catch clips you seen like that one from Kentucky?
Not a ton.
So that to me is the thing. It's like,
well, I mean, again, like Oscar is as long as I have known Oscar Delp the player, you're like how satisfied you are with him as a player all has to do with what expectations you set upon him. Like if you expect Oscar Delp to just be this well-rounded tight end who's going to execute his job, he's going to be a factor sometimes, he's not going to have too many minuses, like he's just a well-rounded football player, you're going to be very pleased with what he does on the football field. If you expect Oscar Delp to be the game-changing tight end, you're going to be disappointed with how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to get drafted like that.
I know, but
look, that's
that's on their discretion of how they want to view him.
And maybe he can become that. Maybe he gets put in an opportunity to where it's, hey, we think that you are Brock Bowers, and we're going to treat you as such, and you're going to have to prove us that you're not. So I mean, he very well could be. The tools are all there. I mean, we all agree that the athleticism, the ability to run, like it's all there. It might not be as polished, and it might not have a ceiling like that, but he could do this.
To me, it's why I think we have a simulation of his career where our player comp ends up being Sam Laporta.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we have a simulation of this career where we end up being Chico Okonkwo, the Tennessee Titans tight end, Hillgrove's finest, by the way, who's just a sawed-off version of Oscar, in my opinion. Like, Chico went to the combine and ran 4.49 at 6'3", 238 pounds. Mm-hmm. So if we run 4.52 at 6'5", 250, we are that. Yeah. Just a bigger version of it. I think the reality for Oscar's career is that we are – where do I got it right here? I think you're guaranteed an 8-year career of a high-end or a high-floor football player at the tight end position that has the potential and physical ceiling to be something completely out of this world. Here's my thing. I think the best tight ends in the history of football are extremely spatially cognizant. I think they understand where grass is. I think they understand where people are on my back. I think they understand how to get open. I think they understand how to position their body to make sure the DB's behind them. I don't know if we have all of those. I think that's the missing key for all of our production questions that I'm going to get asked about this player. Why didn't he produce? Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're a former lacrosse player, by the way. We've only been playing tight end for 4 years. Right. Because we're a high school wide receiver. Like, I know he was listed as a tight end, and West Forsyth football coaches can tell me what they want. I watched you play. He lined up outside the numbers most of the time because he was your best athlete. So maybe there is tremendous amounts of growth. I see some Dawson Knox stuff.
It's not bad.
I'm with you. Mm-hmm. But did Dawson Knox get hurt this year? Something happened? Because he wasn't even in the top 20 in receiving yards. I thought he was one of these guys.
He battled an injury. I think he got a concussion maybe or something.
I thought Dawson Knox was like a top 7 receiving tight end in the league. Is that a good way to put it? I think he's a little Dawson Knoxy.
I don't know if he's that high.
That was where my brain initially went.
I think Dawson Knox might just be the perfect comp, honestly. I mean, it says he played in 17 games this past year, so maybe a little dinged up. He started in 12 of them, but, I mean, it's career numbers of 587 yards in a season, 517, 417. That's about the production I would place on a guy like Oscar Delp.
All right, let's talk about Micah Morris. We're going to run long on the local hour tonight. How about that? Micah Morris, the first pro, rotund. Mm-hmm. I mean, a truly massive human being. Not in height, but in stature. Heavy hands. When he's attached, it's rep over. If this dude puts the paws on you, dunzo. You ain't going nowhere. Now, you can call and complain for a hold, but the difference is about this guy, he's so damn strong when he gets his mitts on you, it's like he curls you into his chest, and he'll never hold because he's with inside the chest plate. That's the key. See, even if you try to pull me out of this, I'm right here because I'm so damn strong. That's what this guy is. Heavy hands, rep over when attached. Can swallow up a pass rusher in protection from the interior, no doubt about it. Other pro, because there's just not, they don't roll these out on trees. This guy going to end up playing like 42 games in college. Like he didn't start all those. In fact, I'd say he started only about half of those. But, man, he played a lot of ball in the SEC. Cons. This is a scheme-specific football player to me. We've been talking a lot tonight about the Shanahan tree and what I think is a morphing across the NFL of everybody moving east and west and not really running north and south anymore. That's across football, to be honest with you. I see a lot of teams deciding that it's a lot easier to move people east and west and find the crease that was created in that, a la wide zone or stretch, than it is to move people against their will north and south. However, there are some teams still in the NFL that do this. Baltimore has been one of these football teams for years, over year. So there are teams that still do it. He's going to have to go to one of those football teams. If you're a team that, and I know they just fired the guy, but if you run that system that Miami was running last year, this ain't your guy to be drafting at the offensive line position. The other con, in my opinion of watching Micah over the years, if he doesn't win within the first 3 steps, keyword steps. If you don't win within the first 3 steps of the rep, probably won't win.
Yeah.
Like there's no, we're going to recover and get our head back on the play side of this rep. Like if we lose in the first 3 steps, we've lost. The comp for me is if he wasn't 6'7" and didn't run a magical 4.81, he's the same player Ben Cleveland is to me. I think Ben Cleveland lied to the NFL world when he went out there and ran 4.81. And everybody's like, oh my God, what is this? Former 5-star, played a lot at Georgia. Holy shit, he ran fast in a straight line. But it's like, guys, Ben is not he's a great linear athlete. Ben Cleveland is not a great lateral mover. Neither is Micah, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So there's that. Colby Young. The frame is real.
Oh, yeah.
The frame is real. 6'5", and how about this one? Rare usage of this one. Thick uppers.
Yes.
Got real thick uppers. If you see this guy in person, his arms look like they weigh 40 pounds apiece.
Yes, they
got huge arms. Physical after the catch. True X traits with boom potential. Here's the cons. Hasn't played a full season in the last 2. Mm-hmm. One injury related, one off the field related. We're going to have to talk to him about that.
Yep.
If we get him in a room, we're going to have a conversation about what happened that night. Limited separator prior to the catch. Separation comes at the point.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we're a route demon.
No, we're not.
You know, I question the speed at the next level. Honestly, I didn't give a player comp here, but you know who he reminds me a lot of? My man that also came from Lawrence Cager. Reminds me a lot of Lawrence Cager's career from a standpoint of 3 years from now, if I read a headline that the New York Giants are trying Colby Young out at tight end, I won't be surprised.
That's fair.
My man Lawrence is still in the league, right? Playing tight end?
I believe so, yes.
Playing tight end in specials?
I believe.
I don't know if Colby's going to have a career running down on kickoff,
is he
though.
on the Dolphins?
He's with the Commanders.
Okay.
And what's he playing?
Tight end.
Tight end, yeah.
He's a tight
end.
He's tight end.
So that's what I'm saying. I think we could see something like that happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's more apropos to actually happen nowadays than we need you to go from quarterback to tight end. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're telling me to continue making league minimum? I have to move closer to the ball? Okay, I'll figure that out. So there's that. Dylan Bell, multi-position versatile at the Z and slot, but will likely do most of his work inside on the NFL level. Like, we're going to get labeled as this gadget player who can do a lot of things, but in reality, I think in the next level, if there are 3 receivers, we ain't lining up outside. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we're in duo, we ain't lining up outside.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're an X or a Z.
No, I think his comp is like a watered down Deebo Samuel, because Deebo Samuel very rarely gets X treatment now or when he was on the 49ers and now with the Commanders. Like, it varies often. Like, okay, you're the Z or you're our slot guy or you're out of the backfield doing a toss sweep.
Mm-hmm. I think the most important thing about his draft stock is he's got tremendous special teams capabilities. Like, we talked about the return specialists nowadays in the league. They're built like he is.
Mm-hmm.
All the return specialists are 6 foot 210. They're all running backs, DB like nickels that can actually move. You know what I mean? But are thick and got good running instincts.
Yeah,
I think he could do something like that. Honestly, kind of looks a lot like Kyrus Jackson from a physical standpoint.
Dylan feels thicker.
Yeah, I would say Dylan's a little thicker.
We don't weigh that much thicker, do we? We're 210. How much did Kyrus weigh at the combine? Like 196?
Maybe. I mean,
so we got 14 pounds. That's a lot on a skill player. So you're probably right. But same role for me. Here's my note, and this is why he will be drafted. There's no doubt about it. The league has plenty of room for a 6 foot, 210-pound player that runs 4.4.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Which is what he's going to go do.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go run 4.43.
And it's proven that he can play multiple positions.
Kyrus Jackson was 196 at the combine. Ran a 4.5, by the way. 4.55. So
yeah,
Dylan
Dylan will be thicker and faster. But I mentioned Kyrgios because Kyrgios has had a career so far on specials.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That's 100%. What he's
100%.
playing. I wouldn't call him a refined route runner, Dylan. Also, you can't talk about Dylan Bell in a draft prospect segment without mentioning the fact that he led the country perhaps in drops in 2024. But we cleaned it up in 25.
Yeah, it was outside of 1 year, it was a non-issue. It was a weird thing. His hands were not an issue this year, and they certainly weren't an issue in the 2023 season.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow we will have an uploaded video from you guys live from the car. We got a little Hyundai Sonata.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll be in that, whipping our way to the combine up there in Indianapolis, and then we'll be back here inside the studio come Monday night for you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review on your way out. I love you. We'll see you next time.